What you're about to watch is one of the most explosive ethical confrontations Congress has seen this year. A moment where the political mask gets ripped off and the raw, uncomfortable truth about influence, power, and accountability is dragged right into the open.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member. Thank you, Ranking Member. Thank you, and welcome, Attorney General Bondi. I just wonder, sincerely wonder, do you hear how hollow your last words sound in light of the pardon of all of the January 6th people, day one of this administration? I believe you're sincere. You want to protect law enforcement, but your principal, the president, pardoned every single one on January 6th. It rings hollow when you say these words, that if you spit on a police officer, we're going to go after you. Talk to my friends who are Capitol Police officers who were here, 5 of whom are no longer here. They are dead. And this administration, and I guess I want to ask you, did you have any advice for the president when he came forward with the blanket pardon on January 20th? What advice did you offer the president?
I am never going to talk about conversations, advice
Were you
in
asked
any
for,
way.
Were you asked
I'm
for
never
advice?
going to talk about discussions I've had
Because
or have not had.
You'll
If I
remember,
can answer with the President of the United
yes or no?
States.
Did you give him any advice, yes or no?
I am not going to discuss any conversations
That's
that
a no.
I have had with it.
And
you just put
your
words in
own
my
word,
mouth. I am
but-
not going to
No,
discuss.
I'm going to reveal your own words.
I am
Just a
not
moment.
going to
Please stop.
discuss
Please stop. This
conversations
is my
that I've
time.
had with the President of the United States.
Attorney
You asked
General,
me a question.
I would like to reclaim
and
the
you
last
asked
20
me to
seconds.
answer.
I have asked to reclaim my time. Please put 20 seconds back on the clock.
You have an extra 30.
If the general,
She answered and then answered it again and answered it again with a non-answer. I ask for your consideration
if the
of
general
putting time
lady
on.
will let the witness answer the question, we will.
She
proceed.
answered it by saying no. Okay. The 3 hallmarks of this administration are incompetence, corruption, and cruelty. I'm going to focus today on corruption. And in my mind, there are 2 types of corruption: personal, and then the other I'm going to call public, governmental. Attorney General, have you ever been registered as an agent of a foreign principal under the Foreign Agents Registration Act?
I assume you're talking about when I represented the country of Qatar for a very short time.
The answer is yes. No,
hold
excuse
on.
me.
No.
No.
For anti-human trafficking for the World Cup. Anti-human trafficking
or
for the
no?
World Cup.
Attorney
you can't
General,
put words in my mouth.
No.
You want to talk about incompetence? You're the one that
Excuse
said Joe Biden on PBS was competent. You had to retract those words.
Mr.
So don't
Chairman,
talk to me. Don't insult me publicly.
this is so discourteous. This is so outside the committee's guidelines. Taking a personal shot at me while swiping at Biden? Very strange and very unprofessional of you. The answer is yes or no, and the answer is yes. You were registered as a lobbyist for Qatar. Is that correct? Yes. Never mind. Don't answer. Did you disclose that when you went before for the Senate for confirmation? Yes or no? No, it was not in your documents. The answer is no. President Trump.
This was discussed at my confirmation hearings in detail.
It was discussed, but you failed to bring up the conflict that you had. President Trump recently announced he'd accept that $400 million Qatar airplane because it was just prettier than the one he was flying around in. Is it true that you gave advice that this was legally permissible? Yes or no?
I will not discuss any advice that my Office of Legal Counsel gives to the President of the United States on any matter.
When you spoke before the Senate, you said you would ask for ethical advice. Did you recuse yourself from that issue?
And talking about unprofessional, you say the President wanted a jet because it's pretty?
Excuse
Come
me.
on, this is a Senate, this is a
He said it
congressional
himself.
hearing.
He said it himself.
What you just watched wasn't just a heated exchange. It was a collision between 2 very different visions of accountability in government. And to understand why this moment matters, you have to look beneath the surface, beyond the shouting points, and into the underlying tension shaping so many of these hearings. Representative Madeleine Dean did something that a lot of lawmakers shy away from. She confronted Pam Bondi not just on policy differences, but on the integrity of her role. She connected Bondi's rhetoric with the broader contradictions of the administration she represents: the blanket pardons for January 6 offenders, the refusal to give direct ethical answers, the pattern of stonewalling when the questions cut too close to power. Dean wasn't merely arguing, she was exposing the gap between image and reality. And Bondi's responses tell their own story. Again and again, she defaulted to the same shield. She won't discuss conversations, she won't discuss advice, she won't discuss documents, she won't discuss conflicts. Notice what that does. It shifts the burden away from transparency and places the focus on secrecy as a form of protection. But public office doesn't work like that. If you are wielding federal authority, if you are advising a president on legal and ethical matters, if your decisions ripple into national policy, then your actions deserve scrutiny. That's not politics, that's democracy. And the foreign agent point is not trivial. Serving as a registered agent for Qatar, then later dealing with matters involving Qatar from a position of federal power, triggers real questions about conflicted interests. That's not mudslinging. That's how influence and access work in Washington. And what Dean is highlighting is the very definition of public corruption. Not bribery, but the misuse of public trust to benefit private or foreign interests. When you withhold disclosure, when you treat ethical questions as personal attacks, you shrink the space for democratic accountability. What makes this hearing so compelling is that it reveals the emotional stakes behind these political battles. Dean wasn't reacting just to Bondi's evasiveness. She was reacting to the erosion of norms she's watched unfold year after year. The pardons, the rewriting of January 6th, the normalization of political loyalty tests within institutions that are supposed to be apolitical. These aren't isolated moments. They form a pattern that corrodes public service. And the personal jabs underscore how tense these hearings have become. When facts become inconvenient, some officials resort to belittlement rather than clarity. That's why Dean insisted on reclaiming her time, because beneath the back and forth is a larger fight over whether truth can still anchor public discourse. This wasn't simply a fiery confrontation, it was a window into a deeper crisis. Government officials acting as extensions of political identity rather than protectors of the public trust. And whether you agree with Dean or not, the questions she raised are ones every American should care about. Who gets access? Whose interests are being served? And who is willing to stand up to power, not just stand beside it? If you want more breakdowns like this, commentary that goes beyond the sound bites and digs into what's really happening, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Left Lens, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. This channel exists because you show up, you engage, and you want clarity in a moment full of noise. Let's keep doing that together.